And yes, I'm angry, and I've been angry. I've asked you politely, I've asked you rudely, I've asked you in any number of ways to get down to the bottom of this. It's unfair for you, or this entire U.S. naval situation, these people who supposedly are here to protect our freedom and our rights, to ask us to sit on this while you pretend that you did not know, as if that's an excuse for what you do know now. From the first time I spoke to you, you talked about radium. That was your only concern at that time. Then you found cesium, you found technetium, you found all sorts of other things that are listed in your own paperwork. And then we did our research, and then you sent out CDPH into my yard, and he told me, remember this? Because this is when I turned from shaking your hand to getting really angry. The representative from CDPH stepped into my backyard, and I said, well, sir, how's it going? He said, oh, you know, it's fine. Those people complaining, they smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and are former crackheads. So really? And then the former director of the island called me and said, could you keep that quiet? So hell no, I won't. Please put that in the record, because that is falsification. And then less than 20 minutes later, that same gentleman was called over across the street behind the children's bus stop, where they found a large item that they had to remove. So how is it that we're wrong and we're crazy and we're outrageous when all we want is to protect our children? You're not really, I mean, you're doing this and you're putting it here and you're saying it's so technical that silly us, we can't understand it, when in fact we do understand it. What we can't do is afford to move into a city that is overpriced, so we asked for your help. We asked you all, you regulators, to be honest about the situation. Don't do what you did in Mare Island. You know, change the environmental regulations and standards and levels so that that can be approved for people to live in it. I have that record. It's the congressional record. It's hard to hide things like that. So you know that you did this before. You've done it to Bayview Hunters Point, you're doing it to us. Then you're going to do it to Alameda. That's a fact. So now what are you going to do about it? Stop giving us these little papers saying, no, oh, it's only this, and this is all we're concerned about. We're concerned about a bigger thing. It's called life. We want to live it. We want our children to realize the extent that they should be able to expect to live unencumbered. Do you know that simply your people driving through here with trucks with radioactive signs on the back of them, straight through the neighborhood, do you know what that does to a child? Even if it does nothing, even if it's clean, supposedly, even if it's covered, do you know what the symbol itself does to our children? So when you do your risk assessment, please put in there trauma. They see these people walking around, and you know, this isn't as simple as just, oh, he ate a blade of grass. This is the children at their age understanding what is really out there and knowing that they can do nothing about it. And the parents knowing they can do nothing about it. And you telling us, oh, it's nothing. It is something. It absolutely is something. You have buildings that are accessible by children that you know are covered in lead paint, chipping and peeling and going into the soil, and yet there's no fences around them. You have sinkholes developing, and yet you do nothing. So how is it that you're okay with this? You know, VOCs, PCBs, dioxin, all these things, they are toxic, and you know that our animals and our children are ingesting it. You know, Mr. Stone, that I spray off my unit. I have clear and distinct pictures of the dust that comes up within a week's time between where I've power washed it and where it is on my neighbor's house. These things are in our windowsills, you guys, come on. Enough, please. I'm so happy you're taking notes because this is stuff that I've asked you. And I would like to see it in writing. We're tired of waiting for you to acknowledge the real risk. It's not fair for you to sit there and let us assume that risk. And you know, Mr. Foreman, you leaned forward in one of those meetings and said, Kathryn, I just really want to know why you're still here. You know exactly why I'm here. I cannot afford to be there, ill health or not. Because you guys work so closely together by your own words, you and Bob Beck, you guys all worked it out. I'm still here at your hand, and now I'm waiting for your hand to sign the paper that gets all of us to safety. Now, this government can send people into a million other countries and profess to be protecting their freedoms, and they can damn well make sure that we're safe at home. I'm absolutely exhausted from your sequin negatives. You've made this determination, but you haven't told me what basis, what criteria are you basing your negative responses on? Where's the percentages? And in the table that's in there, table 1, I mean, you know, you publish your goal levels, but where are the current levels? You want to get to this goal, but what are you working from? What's your beginning? Prove to me that you care, that I know what those levels are. There's no, I don't know what you're currently recording. What you're telling him, and by the time I see it, you'll be done with this work. Just by the nature of how slow the government moves. So how is that fair? And how does that give me an opportunity, a true opportunity for public comment? Or any of my peers? Any of my neighbors? I'm deeply invested in this, no doubt. You guys know that full. I'm reading every day. I'm keeping an eye on everything. My neighbors may or may not have the same ability to do that. So how is that fair? And how does that not get equated into the negative impact or the negative risks? Because that is a true risk, is it not? No answer? Okay. Anyway, bless you. I wish you well. Again, I have no problems with you cleaning this place up. In fact, I am happy you're going to, as a citizen of San Francisco. It falls in line with what we profess to be, environmentally safe and conscious. But you shouldn't be doing it with people in the middle of all of this turnaround of soil and flooding and power outages and no safety. And you running trucks through the neighborhood that you told us you weren't going to do. Just 2 days ago. So you told us that you were going to shut down our only access to the fresh air coming off the bay to use for truck running. And yet they're coming straight through the neighborhood. So what gives? We're just surrounded on all sides by them? That's against what you promised. Again, that's, you know, just the newest thing that you promised that isn't actually happening. I have pictures of trucks sitting open-backed right at the end of the island with its soil being exposed and blown by the wind, right by the Harvey Milk building. Do you know where that is now, Mr. Foreman? Do you know where that building is now? You know the island a little better now?
Comment.
Okay.
No need to be insulted.
No, I'm asking the question, do you know where that is? Because that was the location of that truck. That's not an insult. So these things are happening, and I don't know if you're even here enough to know that this is part of what you should be putting in your risk assessment. There's exposure upon exposure, and then you have the street cleaner who kicks up the dust that collects by the water every time it rains. The dirt that runs off the sides ends up in the drains. Then you have the street cleaner come and he kicks it up. And then you have their maintenance people coming with their blowers and blowing it up into our faces. And then they're depositing more pesticides above and beyond what you actually put down. And more, fertilizers. I've asked them not even to come near my house because I don't want to breathe it. And we're not allowed to dig in the soil, so why are you putting more things in the soil? Is it because it's already there and you don't care? And again, when they do work on the units and they do work in the yards, why aren't you all here watching what Tida and John Stewart are doing to us? The materials they're using to make our lives better are toxic. So you really need to get on top of that. When they dig in and fix the pipes, where are you, Mr. Schumacher? Sorry, where are you, Medi? Where's the water board when this stuff is being put into where it can run off into the bay? Again, there's no answers. These are the risks that you guys are not identifying and you're not including in this analysis. And then you get it approved, and then you just walk all over us until you can, constructively evict each of us, one by one. Or someone's agency says, well, we lost a contract because they'd have an arrangement with the city. It's unfair, it's unethical, and personally, I think it's environmentally unsound, regardless of human interaction. I just think it's disgusting. So I'd like to see you do better.